Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about pets. I will be moving abroad in May with 3 pets, 2 dogs and 1 cat. Now, this is the most nerve-wracking part of this process. It really is. I have done my research. I don't know everything. I'm still learning as I go. But what I have learned is that for the country that I'm moving to, which is Albania, you need 3 things. And you need them in this exact order: microchip, rabies, and then your USDA pet certificate. This is their pet health certificate to make sure that they don't have any parasites, any skin diseases, or anything like that, that they're in good physical shape to go to another country. I spoke with the veterinarian that has 2 vets that do these USDA health pet certificates. And they advised me of what their process is, a good timeline of when to call to schedule an appointment, and they also advised me of the cost, which I was really worried about as well because I've seen some crazy stuff. So for all 3 of my pets to get their health certificate, it'll be around $400, which that gave me a little bit of a relief because I've seen different things. But everything is going to be different for everybody, of course, because everyone's moving from a different place. Different states have different prices when it comes to veterinary services. There's a lot of different factors that you have to include in. But the best thing to do is just research the country that you're going to and see what their process is and what all is needed, and then take it from there. I have found the vet that we're using a couple months ago, which I was glad I had already had them in line. I just needed to find out if I could find out more about the pricing, because when I first called them, they told me to wait a few weeks before I was ready to go to set an appointment, but I didn't get any pricing because at that time I didn't really know exactly what I needed. I also really didn't even know where I was going to, so that was a factor. And they do ask you that because that matters as well. And then priority shipping is another thing that you'll have to pay for, because when you get your USDA certificate signed off by the USDA, which I'm so nervous about that, but when you get that signed off, they'll send it to you priority mail. So he didn't know what the pricing would be for that because he really couldn't tell until it's actually done. So that'd be another price, another factor. That I would say anywhere between $50 and maybe $100 as the most, but who knows? We'll have to see. The other thing would be rabies. As far as the cost for rabies shots, is $43.50. The good thing is we only have to do 2 pets. My cat and 1 dog would need rabies. And then microchips, I only have to do 2 pets for microchips, which would be my cat and a dog. I have 1 dog, which is Miss Lady. She has already been microchipped. The microchips have to be ISO compatible or compliant, which from my understanding is standard. Now that costs $100 per pet. So I'm thinking anywhere around $750 for the health portion of my pets moving abroad. Now, as far as the cost for their flight, so I have 2 pets that are going to go in cabin, and that's my cat and 1 of my dogs. In cabin cost, I think, is $120 per pet. And then the carriers would be anywhere between, I don't know, anywhere between $25 to $30 for a carrier for each pet. So there's that cost. And then for the in-cabin pet, which I have 1 dog that would need to go in cabin, and from the website, it was $300 and something. I'm planning to fly with Air Canada because I feel like Air Canada has the best pet policy that I've found that is pretty much cut and dry. They list the prices on the website. There's no second guessing or trying to figure out what everything means. They have everything pretty much on their website for you to look up to find out the information that you need. Now, it would never hurt to call and try to verify things and clarify things, anything that you're questioning, or just to make sure that you have an understanding of what the process is. But for the most part, they have a lot of information listed on their website, and I like that because I've looked at other pet policies with other airlines, and I'm just like, what? I don't like, that is a really serious situation for these airlines to be vague about. I think that's really fucked up. They need to be more clear with what their policy is. And also when you call, because I've called a few airlines and I can't think of them off the top of my head. I think it might have been American Airlines. I had 2 different people give me different information. That's not funny. That's not fun. It's definitely not helpful. It's a nerve-wracking situation as a whole. So for them to not have clear information, it's really fucked up. Do better. So the next thing I did was I consulted ChatGPT. I'm not going to go into any of the politics around that. I consulted ChatGPT because I wanted to get a little bit of help on what would be a good timeline. When should I start doing these things based on when I'm leaving? It suggested that I go ahead and schedule their microchip and rabies appointments, get those out of the way, because for Albania, your rabies vaccine has to be done at least 21 days before you land in the country. So the sooner you get that done, that's one less thing you got to worry about. And I can definitely agree that that would be a good idea. So I think that maybe mid-March, I'm going to set an appointment to get their microchips and rabies done. And then also they were suggesting to do a preliminary exam just so that they can just have an exam to look over the dogs, look over the pets, and make sure that there's nothing going on that may need to be taken care of between then and when you go to get your final exam to get that health certificate. So that is what I'm going to do. I think that's a good, solid plan. Because I think that makes sure that there's no surprises at the end. Or, you know what I mean? Just to be on the safe side. Just to kind of have your pet looked at just in case there's something going on. That's what I found out. That's where I am now as far as the pet situation is concerned. Initially, the plan was only to take 2 pets, but it looks like it's going to be 3. I'm not finding a new home for my cat, and I'm not going to stress about that anymore. I'm just going to move on to the next process. I hope that this is helpful for you. Again, every situation is going to be different because I'm moving from Ohio to Albania. You may be moving from California to, I don't know, the Philippines. I don't know. Everyone's situation is going to be different, so you have to do your research based on where you're going and where you're coming from. But for the most part, that is the process. Like the health stuff, the vet stuff, and then the flight. So that's pretty much how that works. Pretty standard. But if you made it this far, thank you for watching my video. And if you like videos like this and you want to follow along with my moving abroad process and experience, be sure to comment and subscribe. And I will see you in the next video.